Yo, what's up guys? We are finally back with my week 6 battle for the PMC D-League. It was supposed to go up yesterday, but because we had the battle on Saturday, I didn't have the time to upload it yesterday, and I had some trouble with the first battle video that was recorded by my good friend Tyler. Shout out to him, he records all my battles for me. The first version just was pretty messy and was lagging like crazy, so he had to re-record it for me. Thanks a lot for it, I really appreciate it. With you I won't be able to record for the league and wouldn't be able to put out solid content, I guess. Anyway, we are facing Adam and the Kansas City Kakunas for the second time this season. We lost the first battle versus him in a close 2-0 match, very long one, 63 or 64 turns I believe. I had a chance to win the game when my Lopunny was at +1 after power punch on the Genesect, but I threw the game away because I didn't stay in on the Rotom because he bluffed the Scarf perfectly. And yeah, that was basically GG. This time I'm bringing a slightly different team because I dropped Asalgor, Landorus T and Slowbro for Scolipede, Landorus I and Slowking, so I cannot bring the Asalgor and the Slowbro again, but that's not really bad for me because Slowking is a way better matchup versus this team because it can take U-turns, not as fine as from Genesect, not as fine as Slowbro, but it can lift them and can easily tank bug buzzes from it with the Assault Vest that I put on it. Scolipede also has a better matchup versus him than my Asalgor. I don't really feel the need to bring Spikes versus him this week because I expect the Rotom and the Ladias to be levitators, and the rest of his team doesn't really care that much about Spikes because I won't be able to get up 3 of 2 layers anyway. So, and he has a very good defog on Ladia, so I didn't really mind bringing the Spikes. If you haven't watched my team builder, go check it out, it will be in the description below. I uploaded it yesterday. I think it's a very good team, very threatening versus him, and with a lot of options to sweep late game, a lot of options to rip holes in his entire team, and a very solid walker versus him. If you want a quick overview, I'm bringing offensive support, combining with max HP and enough speed to outspeed Genesect, and a little attack EVs investment with close combat and Iron Head with Taunt and Stealth Rock as well. I bring AV Slowking, physically defensive. I bring very standard, more specially invested Among Us with Spore, Dual Step and Foul Play. I bring SD 3 attacks. Scolipede, I bring Spec Super, and I bring Sub Power Punch, Dual Step, Mega Lopunny, just like I did in the first game. He made some slight changes. He brings the Mienshao this time over the Florges. His entire team was the same. The first time we played. From team preview, I expected Scarf Genesect, again a bulky offensive Ladias with not that much speed, physically defensive Gorgas, which is his main answer to my Lopunny, Sash Mammo to get up Stealth Rocks early game, then either Scarf, Specs, or some defensive Rotom. I definitely have to find out what set he runs, but it's not that big of a deal with the Rotom because this time I have my Slowking, which is a fantastic answer to it. Last time I had when I had Slowbro, I didn't really have a mon that can check or counter Rotom, especially an offensive variant. So that was a little bit troubling because I had to pivot around it, fish for the overheat, so he's at -2, and then go into a mon that can take it on. Mienshao could be scarfed. It should be scarfed to revenge kill my Lopunny. It could be banned. It could be live orb. I don't really know, but again, it doesn't break through my walker, so I'm not too concerned. Looking at his team, I really expected him to either lead with one of his Scarfers potentially, or with his Mamoswine. So I thought that I could lead with my Cobalion because I don't want rocks up on my side, just because my Scolipede is a little too weak to it, and I don't want to lose HP on my mons, even if on my Walker, because even though they have the Regenerator, but I need to need them to be at full or near full to take like hits from a +1 Genesect, for example. So I decide to lead off with my Cobalion. I can taunt his Mammoth Swine. It cannot touch me because of the Air Balloon, and I could potentially taunt a Gorgeist lead or a Rotom, for example. But yeah, let's hop right into it, as I decide to lead off with my Vega, which is my Cobalion. Adams is issuing a challenge here. Very nice. He leads off with the Rotom, which kinda sucks because like my team matchup now is a little worse than expected. I decide to go right ahead and switch out because I don't know what set he runs. If it's like an offense variant, it can take me out with the Overheat. So I go into my hard counter, my Assault Vest, Coolidge, my Slowking. He goes right for the Overheat, which I thought was like a sign that he's offensive, but the damage he does to my Slowking, even though it's a resisted hit, and even though like I have an Assault Vest, shows me that he's not heavily invested. Same with the Volt Switch. At -2 it didn't do anything to me, so I expect him to go for the Volt Switch and fire off an Ice Beam, I'm pretty sure, expecting the Latias, fishing for the freeze kinda, but getting damage off on this thing is pretty nice. He goes for the Toxic here, which kinda sucks, but this mon is not supposed to like stay in for a lot of consecutive turns as I fire off another Ice Beam here. So I kinda forced him to roost here if he has it, and I decide to switch out my Slowking. I go into my Hooper here, expecting a Dragon type move that I could take, or a Roost, which he goes for. So that's very good for me. He doesn't know what set my Hooper is, and I don't want to reveal it yet. But I know that I threaten it out as he goes into his Mienshao, expecting me to go for a Dark type move. But I switch out again, just scouting for the HP bug that which could do like 70 to 80% if it's an offensive variant. So I switch out into my Amoonguss. He U-turns out here as I fire off a Foul Play because I don't want to go for the Spoil yet, because last time we played he brought a Safety Goals Latias, and he goes into Latias as his hard counter, I guess, to this thing, which tells me that he is probably a Safety Goals variant again. I fire off a Foul Play which does a clean 30% to him. Very nice damage here. I get my HP back with the Black Sludge, which is pretty nice. I decide again to switch out into my Hooper, expecting a Psychic type attack or maybe a Roost or something, but he goes for another Toxic, which is a good play on his part. He expects me to go into Hooper again, so he tries to whittle it down. This time I don't want to play any doubles. I outspeed an uninvested Latias, which he brought last time, I believe. I think he brought max HP, max special attack. So I fire off a Dark Pulse as he goes into his Mammoth Swine. This Dark Pulse is a guaranteed 1-hit KO on like even a bulkier Mammoth Swine, because I'm choice specs and Hooper is a god. I bring him down to his Focus Sash and then I decide to switch out to my Cobalion because I don't know if it's Jolly or something like that and could outspeed and kill me with the Earthquake. But he goes for the Protect. I don't know why really. Probably trying to whittle me down with the Toxic, but I get a kill here with my Cobalion. So Mammoth Swine, which is like his only rocker this week, is down, which is pretty nice for me. He goes again into the Rotom Heat. I expect him to go for the Volt Switch here, or for the like Overheat as I go into my Slowking. He goes for the Overheat again. He knows that my Cobalion is like it's a solid mon versus him, and he tries to deal with it, I guess. He gets a crit, which does not matter. You see that there's like 36 HP, so I don't really care about that. Now he Volt Switches out. I think I'm going for the Ice Beam again. I might go for a Scald. Let us see. He brings out the Latias again, obviously, which is very good versus my Walker. Yeah, I go for the Scald, fishing for a burn, or expect him to maybe go for like a Thunderbolt to like see what kind of damage he can do to me. Toxic is gonna whittle me down a little bit, but I'm switching out here, so it doesn't matter. He makes a double switch into his Mienshao here, trying to gain some momentum as I switch out. I think into my Hooper again. No, into my into my Scolipede. And this is a pretty critical term. In my team builder, I said that this mod, my Scolipede, could potentially sweep the game, but it's not necessarily my late game sweeper because I still have my Lopunny in the back. This mon also could like punch very strong, very big holes into his team with like a Poison Jab or a Mega Horn, and I wouldn't even care if I sack it just for scouting purposes. If he has a Scarfed Mienshao, he outspeeds me because I don't get my speed boost yet because it was buffed in Auras and you don't get it by switching in on anything. So I'm currently slower than the Scarfed Mienshao, and I really want to scout for his Scarfers. So I decided to stay in with my Scolipede just to make sure what item he has on his team, on his mons, so to give my Lopunny a better chance to win late game. He goes for the Stone Edge, hits it, and gets a very high roll to kill me. I think it was like a 40% or 37% chance to kill if it's a Jolly Mienshao, but it doesn't really matter because like it was my Scolipede was very useless at like a low amount of HP because I cannot set up an SD on anything. I decided to go into my Lopunny and revenge kill whatever, like if he wants to stay in, go for another Stone Edge or to hit whatever he wants to come in hard. He goes into his Gorgas, which is his counter for my Lopunny, I guess. I just fire off a high jump kick because I know he won't go into Ladias this time because I outspeeded and could revenge kill with the return, so that wouldn't make any sense. My high jump kick does a clean 46% roughly, and here I decide to go for the substitute, scouting for like a foul if he has the foul play or if he has the seed bomb. He shows the seed bomb, so my substitute is pretty much useless. And the next turn is very critical. He breaks my sub, gets some lefties back, and here I decide, you know what, Adam is an aggressive player, he's a good player, he will go for another seed bomb, or he will like over predict and go for a foul play or make an aggressive double switch. I don't expect him to go for the Will-O-Wisp at all because I showed a sub, and you shouldn't go for status moves if a very threatening one to your team like is in front of you and you can like damage it, or you will straight lose if it goes for sub. So I decide to go for another high jump kick, get some damage off on this thing because it's the only thing that prevents me from sweeping with my Lopunny basically. He goes for the Will-O-Wisp and misses. This miss really sucks for him. It was a very good decision to go for the Will-O-Wisp because like I over predicted here. I don't think that the outcome of the game would have been like an obvious win for him if he hit the Will-O-Wisp, but he would have had a lot of momentum and a much better chance to win the game, I would say. I don't think it was the right play to go for the Will-O-Wisp, but it definitely was a good play because obviously I stayed in and didn't go for the substitute. But he misses, and now his Gorgas dies to another high jump kick, which I hit again, and his Gorgas goes down. At this point, my Lopunny sweeps his entire team if I play around his Scarfers. So I just have to keep it healthy and get rid of like his Mienshao and maybe a Scarf Genesect. He goes out into his Mienshao. I expect him to U-turn, but I cannot stay in with my win condition. So I go out, make the safe play into my Amoonguss. He goes for the U-turn, which is a good play. He talked over Skype to me after the Will-O-Wisp miss, and he said like when he sent out the Mienshao, this thing, I'm talking about my Lopunny, this thing has to die, which like really told me he was going for U-turn. I was 99% sure he would, but I have no reason to play aggressively. I can just go for the safe play, and that is going into my Amoonguss here. He sends out the Rotom, and this time I can live an overheat 100% of the time, even if it's a Specs variant. It does like, I would live it at like 2% or something. I made all the calcs. So I decide to stay in and spawn, not expecting him to go into the Ladias this time. And he goes for the Will-O-Wisp, burns my Amoonguss, which doesn't really matter. Only that my foul plays are weaker. But his Rotom goes to sleep, and that is great because now I can 100% set up a substitute on the Rotom with my Lopunny to basically win the game. So Here he decides to switch out, so he hasn't burned a turn of sleep yet. Goes into his Mienshao, as I think I make the double switch into my Hooper here to like get a big hit off if he wants to stay in. Yeah, there's the Hooper. I get some poison damage, which doesn't really matter. And here he has a very free U-turn, so he has no reason not to go for it, because that's like 170% to me if it's an adamant Mienshao or something. So I decide to go into my Cobalion, which takes the U-turn like it's nothing. It does 8. So he pops my air balloon, which doesn't matter anymore because none of his mons can pack the Earthquake besides the Latias, but Latias doesn't pack Earthquake, right? So he goes into his Genesect, and here this is kind of the same thing as Scolipede, as the Scolipede sack, because my Cobalion could still be helpful. I could get up rocks, I could taunt stuff like the Latias to prevent him from roosting up, I could taunt the Rotom Heat, I could like damage everything very like to a certain extent with my dual step, but I decide to stay in to see if it's a Scarfed Genesect. So I decide to go in, just go for taunt to make sure he doesn't shift gear up on me. He gets a special attack, raise, and goes for the flamethrower, which is good to know for me. So I now know what set he is. He is a Scarf Genesect and a Scarf Mienshao, so I have to get rid of both, or hope that they lock themselves into moves that can't touch my Lopunny that well, so that I can set up a sub on them. He gets a crit here, which doesn't really matter. He had like a very solid chance to kill me. It was like a very high roll, like 80% or something. So it doesn't really matter. I just made sure that he killed me. But again, it doesn't matter because I went for the taunt. It would not have damaged him anyway. So my Cobalion goes down, which doesn't really matter. And here I go into my Hooper, knowing that I can take the flamethrower from the Genesect. I fire off a big Dark Pulse, and as he goes for the flamethrower, knowing that he can take me out. The Dark Pulse crits here now and takes out the Genesect. In his video he complained kinda about the crit because he thought it mattered, but a Dark Pulse from a Specs Modest Hooper does 98% minimum to a Genesect, to a native Genesect I believe. To a Jolly Genesect it does like 95 to 1 or 12% or something like that, so the roll was heavily in my favor. The crit made sure I killed him, but it was like a 75% chance to kill him anyway if it was a timid variant, sorry, just a special one. But I expect him really to be native, because Scarfed without U-turn would be kinda dumb, especially versus my team, especially if he has the Volt Switch support in the Rotom. So Genesect goes down. I doubt the crit mattered at all, and my Hooper is still alive, getting a big kill in this game and takes out one of his biggest threats. He goes into the Mienshao and goes for U-turn. I decide to sack my Hooper, even though it like kills the Latias or kills the Rotom with his attacks. But I decide to like sack my Hooper here, because then he has to choose between going into the Rotom, which is asleep and hasn't burned a turn of sleep yet, which would basically guarantee me a win because I could have subbed up on it with my Lopunny, or going into the Latias, which I kill with the return from my Lopunny too. So he's in like a very bad spot. He goes for the U-turn and takes out my Hooper. Hooper's now sitting at 5 kills, I believe, this season. Pretty underwhelming, but I didn't bring it to very many games, and it acted like a wall breaker this time and did its job perfectly, because it like basically killed the Mamo and killed the Genesect, so that's pretty nice. He goes into his Latias as I send out my Mega Lopunny. I just fire off a return here, because even if it's a max HP Latias, the roll is like 40 to 48%, and he's at like 45, so I think return is the best play here, because like I cannot allow him to roost up if I send out one of my walls like the Amoonguss or the Slowking. So I have to go for a return and hope that I can take him out, which like I do if he brings like a Latias that has less than 176 HP EVs, I believe, and no defense EVs at all. So, and gorging from the Ice Beam damage earlier, it is not a max HP Latias, so there's that. I take out the Latias with my Lopunny, as he brings out his Mienshao. Now it's basically game because my walls beat this Mienshao easily, especially with the regenerate. I can pivot around. I could easily wait for him to run out of high jump kicks and pivot around with my slow king and my Amungas. But I just go for I just switch in here my Amungas, go for a Giga Drain on next turn because he cannot take me out with another high jump kick. I could fish for the misses, but I don't really care. Yeah, I just go for the Giga Drain, which does a clean like 40% to him. Yeah, 45%, which is very nice damage because now a side shock or a Scald from my slow kick easily take him out. So knowing that I cannot lift the next high jump kick, I just pivot around into my pivot out into my slow king because that thing can take like 2 more high jump kicks even with the poison damage racking up, I believe. It's funny that he missed the Will-O-Wisp, but neither of us missed a high jump kick in the entire game. We went for like 7 high jump kicks overall, which is pretty funny. Here he switches out into his Rotom. I go for the Scald, and now I can finally see what set he is. And judging from the damage, that is definitely especially defensive Rotom Heat. And at this point in the game, I know that it cannot touch my Lopunny. It hasn't burned a turn of sleep yet, so I go hard into my Mega Lopunny, wanting to end the game here. Yeah, the Rotom now burns the first turn of sleep, and I basically can just go for a safe substitute, because even if he wakes up now and Volt switches out and breaks my sub, that doesn't really matter because my Wall Core takes on the Mienshao with ease, so there's that. I go for the substitute. I'm at 71%, which is 50.5%, so I would even live a high jump kick miss at this point at 1 HP. He doesn't wake up, and I have a free high jump kick here to take out the Rotom. I'm running Adamant Lopunny, and this like just destroys the Rotom. Does like 77 to 89%, and he was at like 70 at most. So now he sends out his Mienshao, and I win the game here because he has to break myself with a jump kick, and I can easily take it out with the return here because Mienshao is pretty frail. Yeah, that's the game. We get a nice 3-0 win here versus the Kansas City Kakunas. The miss obviously sucked for him, the miss with the Gorgas, but that was basically the only hacks that mattered at all. The crit on the Genesect didn't matter unless he was like heavily specially defensive, which he definitely wasn't, judging from the flamethrower damage. And the crit on the Cobalion didn't really matter at all because rocks could have been helpful later in the game, and I could have had another sack, but like it is what it is. I think he had a very good chance to win the game if had he burned my Mega Lopunny, but I think that's the game we play, and like he already has his playoff spot, so it doesn't really matter. I could always lose to Kyle next week and the Mesquite Mesprit, which we face again, and then he could take over the division lead. So it is what it is, and we both are in the playoffs. Maybe we face him again in the conference finals or something, which I don't really want because his team is pretty annoying to deal with. But like, I kind of have a very solid matchup too because my Lopunny can deal with his entire team very well if I take care of the Gorgas, as you saw today. Because after Gorgas were down, I basically had the game, unless I choked it away versus one of the Scarfers. But I was able to play very safe the mid and late game, so I was able to pull off a nice win here. I'm now first in the division at like 4-2 and plus 10 or something. I don't really know. We got now 3 nice wins in a row at 4-0, 5-0 and 3-0. Definitely looking forward to the last battle. I want to beat Kyle to like destroy his playoff hopes because I don't want him in the playoffs. I want to beat his ugly Mega Metagross, and I'm going to sweep his entire team. I don't know how I'm gonna do that yet, but I'm definitely gonna destroy him. So look forward to that. Mega Lopunny is now the kill leader in the league, I believe, at 17 kills and 3 deaths. So this thing has a big chance to win the MVP race, especially if I win my last game and win my conference. And yeah, that would be nice, I guess. Yeah, again, we are facing the Mexican Mesquits next time, and if we win, we get to first place in the conference and like face opponent with a reverse record, I guess. So that would be nice, but I'm ready to take on whoever wants to play me in the playoffs, and yeah, that's just what I have to say about this game. Yeah, if you have any questions about the battle or anything to say, leave a comment or hit me up on Twitter. I don't really care. And see you on Saturday for my team builder for last week of the PMC D-League. See you.